So the path of yoga, or the process of yoga as a meditative path, it is actually not what it's sold as in our modern culture, but it's a way of completely letting go, a way of complete surrender. And that's why in the eight limbs of yoga, we have the yamas and niyamas, and Ishvara Pranidhana is an extremely important aspect of all of that. So anyway, this first sutra, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, this is the cornerstone of the entire method. And the idea of nirodha, this cessation, this stopping, this restraint, this letting go, this is not a violent suppression. It's not, you're not forcing anything. The beauty of Patanjali's system, if you follow it, is that it seamlessly, gracefully leads you from one experience to another, which kind of pulls you closer and closer into this experience of the essence of your being. Later on in the Yoga Sutras, it describes this process like a farmer raising a grate and allowing water to flow in and irrigate the field. That the farmer is not forcing the water, pushing the water into the field to irrigate it. The farmer is just lifting the gate and letting the water flow. So all of these processes in the Yoga Sutras, in our Kriya Yoga practice, they're just a step-by-step way of lifting a gate, letting the water flow. Okay, walk a few more feet, lift another gate, let the water flow. You're just moving from one stage to the next. You're moving from accessing a very gross, obvious experience in life into accessing subtler and subtler experiences of life. Now, meditation itself, let's get into, I don't know if we want to call it a definition, but a working model of what meditation is. So in the Yoga Sutras, we have these 8 limbs. I'm sure you're familiar with them: yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. And meditation is essentially the 7th limb, dhyana. This is the 7th limb. But we have to remember, it doesn't occur in isolation. And the beauty of the Yoga Sutras, as I've been seeing it, feeling it, experiencing it more over these last 5 years or so, is this symmetry and this flow that it has. For example, on Patreon, we're doing a class right now on the yamas and niyamas, and I'm calling it the chain of enlightenment. Chain as in like a metal chain where there's links in a chain. And if you look at the yamas and niyamas, one chain link leads to another chain link, which goes on and on until you finally get to Ishvara Pranidhana. You follow the links to get to the deeper stages. And if you don't follow the links, if you don't start at the beginning, you're not really going to be able to stabilize that deeper stage of tapas, that deeper stage of samadhi, and that deeper stage of Ishvara Pranidhana. Well, the same is true with the yamas and the niyamas. And we're going to have another layer of that coming up here in a minute, which I find really interesting. The yamas and niyamas and the 8 limbs of yoga, you can't just go to dhyana meditation. You can't do it. You can try, and you can tap into you can tap into experiences that are kind of close to it, but you can't just jump to dhyana meditation. And Patanjali divides the processes of yoga into 2 sections. There's the outer section, and then there's the inner section. Outer is what you can do here in the world, what you can do alternate nostril breathing, physically touching your nose. You can express truth to someone physically. You can talk about it. You can say it. You can get involved in an asana, a posture. You can actively withdraw your senses into the core of the essence of your being. You can do these things in the world. These are the outer aspects of yoga. But there's another part of yoga, the inner aspects, which no one else can see, no one else can know. You only know it by going within. So no one knows when you are experiencing dharana. No one knows when you're experiencing dhyana. No one knows when you're experiencing samadhi, only you, because it's an internal state. Now, you might be able to say, and it will be slightly accurate, that, well, we can measure these things with brain scans. Sure, you can. But what about the yogi who's not actually identified with the body? This is where it gets a little tricky and metaphysical. But if a person's brain isn't functioning, but the yogi, the essence of that person, is present, it's not going to show up in a brain scan. So there are these inner limbs, these inner aspects of yoga, which in no way can actually be defined outwardly. But the only way you are able to access these inner limbs is by following the steps, the first 5 steps, the first 5 steps. Once the outer framework, the outer structure becomes stabilized, now you can go within. Now you can look into yourself, for lack of a better word. And even Kriya Yoga, as we know it popularly, meaning as it's been shared through the culture at the present moment, that's still really only focusing on the first 5 limbs of yoga. But you have to do that. That's the beautiful part about it. By practicing Kriya Yoga as we know it from Paramahansa Yogananda and the teachers of the tradition, the breath awareness, the Kriya Pranayama, all of this is preparing you for pratyahara, so then that you can then access the inner states, the inner limbs of yoga. So meditation, we have to remember, we can do techniques, we can do pranayama, we can do the things which are setting us up for success, but those are setting us up for success to go within. And we can only really say we are meditating when we're doing the work on the inside, when it has nothing to do with the external alternate nostril breathing, the circulation of the Kriya Pranayama, all these things. Sri Yukteswar talks about this in some of his writings, so does Lahiri Mahashaya, but it's complicated and it's subtle. So it hasn't really been included in a lot of what's available to us right now. It's hard to understand as well, but we can get there. And that's the beautiful part about all of this.